the more and more I see the frenzy over sexual assault and sexual harassment as exactly that, a fucking frenzy. Now Larry Nassar is that's like in a whole case of its own. That's like in an echelon of its own. But that's the point. You don't compare a lot of the kinds of behavior that's being called sexual assault or sexual harassment to something like Larry Nassar, which is a legitimately heinous thing, right? So that's where I just start to draw pause a little bit and go, I get believing people, but it might be a culture of MSC sports that causes sexual assault. All the articles is saying, oh, yeah, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. This is rape culture. This is the term that's used, and I don't know how much I even agree with the principle of rape culture anymore. And that's kind of my shtick, but whatever. Obviously, powerful men can get away with colorful behavior more easily, but the question is it just colorful behavior, or maybe what's the term? Is it something that could just be frowned upon, that kind of behavior? So, whatever behavior took place in some of these cases, or is it actually reprehensible behavior? And I think depending on the nature of the nitty-gritty details, which it doesn't seem like we have access to the really nitty-gritty details in most of these cases, at least the ones that were reported in the ESPN article, it's really hard to make a case. But you cannot even say that, because then someone will just say, well, you have to believe survivors. And that's where you really lose me, or that's where the current point in our social political climate kind of loses me, because you have to be able to be innocent until proven guilty, and you can't call the basis of the legal system into question just because of the emotional nature of the crimes that we're talking about, right? If anything, they should be taken all the more seriously because they are amongst, sexual assault is amongst some of the worst things that you could do to somebody, right? So it's a really weird time. It's a really weird time for me, because I'm kind of starting to question a lot of what I previously might have very firmly believed. Well, but I guess my question is, what are they covering up? Because, like, as you said, if they're open and shut cases, I should say, if they're closed cases, then, I guess you could be upset that they're covering it up. But to me, the fact that they're covering it up is due to the fact that the court of public opinion has never been more irrational and frenzied as it is now. And so for them to protect their, I understand, like, I would be the first one to say that it's obviously a matter of economics. They're trying to protect their bottom line. They don't want this to sully their name. But the question is, legally, were there missteps? Or is this really just they don't want to share information that would sully their names or the names of their players? I understand that they have a legal obligation to, but you can understand why they wouldn't want to, because, as I said, the court of public opinion right now is super super extreme, so extreme, like it's almost like delusional, and it actually paints feminism as exactly what opponents of the ideology have been saying for a long time. Maybe they weren't correct about it in their characterization before, but they're making feminism look like a bunch of goddamn man-haters. Literally, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, but this current, the ESPN piece has almost nothing to do with Nasser. It's really just the time that it's coming out. Right. I have no idea how many I just picked up. We're just gonna go with her as 1. Yeah, that's fair. I understand what you mean in terms of the chain of command and who oversaw whom and such, but Thursday. Okay, is this like actually a run now, or like you gonna give me a chance game, or what? Nope. Okay, that's 1 day. It's fine, but it's fucking crazy, dude. Right. All I'm trying to get at is just this idea that, dude. Why am I doing this? I don't know why. Oh no, I know I'm doing this. This is correct. Is this idea that people don't care about evidence. That's the main issue. But nobody cares about evidence. It really has nothing to do with feminism. People are just straight up don't care about reason. I guess. Like, no, it is. The thing is, it is feminism. What feminism looks like now is actually what it is, and it's disgusting. But it's true that regardless of whether you're talking about feminists or you're talking about anything else, people don't care about reason, no matter what. So. Shit, I'm late. What am I doing? Two. So I'm just gonna skip this first split because it's gonna be way off based on the route change. Yeah, I don't know exactly at which point feminism went totally off the rails. Maybe if there's first wave, second wave, third wave, whatever. Yeah, it kind of is, and actually that's kind of what I also hate about Smashers. Smashers are also a little bit SJW for me, and it's honestly kind of fucking stupid, but like, but it's really scary when people can become sex offenders over things like that, and nobody actually cares because you're just supposed to believe victims. Anybody who's labeled a victim, automatically they're not responsible for anything. And wait, this was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Can I just stop getting fucked by it? Like, seriously? Anyway, so it's... Well, what do you mean they suck? Well, I definitely think there's a fundamental flaw with them. I just think that we probably don't think that that flaw is the same thing. And I guess for me, I don't know if it's the culture or if it's actually the law, so I'd have to read about it, but in terms of Tuesday, Wednesday, that was actually good rain. Yeah, that is an issue. But I think that issue, the issue of fake accusations, has to do with what people think constitutes the act itself. I'm not accusing people of making false accusations. I'm accusing people of Okay, I see what I do. Yeah, I'm more saying that can I get a fucking herb? Nope. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of them. So today was Wednesday. So that means tomorrow's Thursday, right? Yes. Thursday. To be honest, I think that the scariest thing about sexual assault, sexual harassment, is much more extreme in terms of the flexibility of the definition. I think that's definitely a big issue. Because I don't think that people make fake accusations of harassment. They just think that almost anything qualifies as harassment. So they're honestly and in good faith accusing people of sexual harassment that in reality I don't think under any law should be considered sexual harassment. That's a different issue entirely. Not entirely, but similar. But the whole thing that's really scary about sexual assault is the role of alcohol, and I think that's what's really freaky about it to me. Is this idea that if two people are shit-faced drunk, and this is because this is what happens on college campuses constantly, right? If two people are shit-faced drunk, the woman is not responsible for anything that happens, but the man is still responsible for everything, even though they're both shit-faced fucking drunk. And I think it doesn't happen too often. That, well, actually, I couldn't tell you what I thought the incidence was because I don't know enough about the data, but that's just straight up scary to me. I don't know. Shit. Hang on, I'm gonna have to grab this. Witness testimony in the case of college campuses, you're just saying because of the fact of alcohol? Because I think that is that's a big problem. That's true. But obviously, it's Saturday, right? Yeah, obviously, alcohol complicates the scenario significantly. And you can't make law too subjective because on a certain level it has to be about physical evidence. So that's what's difficult about, for example, making laws that, I mean, there is a subjective nature to consent. Obviously, that's the idea of consent, but especially in those kinds of situations, it's fucking freaky, if you ask me. Out of flowers, so I'll grab one tomorrow. Well, it's it's all right if you see. The thing is, I'm a dude. You don't have to like defend yourself around any. I'm sure there's maybe possibly women. Actually, there's probably not. I guess I think that the stereotype, what people would call a stereotype of the woman after a sexual encounter that she later regrets, accusing somebody of sexual assault. I don't know how often that occurs, but I also don't think that it's just a stereotype by any means. And depending on how subjective you make the law, you allow for a lot more. That too. Obviously, nobody in practice, even though they tell you all the time, there's these fucking posters that say, if she's drunk, she can't consent. Nobody actually treats it like that, right? In fact, probably plenty of people hook up super drunk, totally fine. Dude, you don't have to associate that with any political stance. Just because a certain party uses it as rhetoric doesn't disqualify it. It's a logical fallacy. I did qualify what I said by saying I don't know how often that happens. I'm sure it happens less often, but I'm sure the idea being that the farther you push the line into subjectivity regarding an issue like that, the more of a problem that you have. But what I'm saying is it's not very useful to in analyzing a claim, and this is something that I've had to kind of learn as I go forward. I would dismiss in the past. Sometimes I would dismiss things out of hand because I knew a certain group commonly said that, and I go, oh, they're crazy. They think this other thing, so if they're saying that can't possibly be true because I already know that these people, they're I've learned the older I've gotten more and more to be able to, I've tried to also be more and more able to take the right bits out of all kind of points of view and leave what I disagree with. I was more stating a principle. I said I don't know how often that happens, but the more often, or the further you push. Fuck. Wednesday. Shit, I actually just fucked up. Yesterday was first harvest. That's okay. The further you push definitions of assault like that into subjectivity, and given the nature of and the prevalence with which alcohol is used in sexual encounters, especially amongst young, stupid people, this could potentially create an issue. And there already are at least a few high-profile cases. 1, 2, 3, 4, where tell me I didn't lose it. Nice. Where where alcohol played a very significant role, and neither party remembered the encounter. But everyone went super apeshit over, like the Brock Turner case, for example. Everyone went super apeshit over that. To which you're probably about to say, oh, he's a goddamn rapist. But honestly, from what I read of it, it was a very regrettable series of events, but it's very clear whose testimony matters more. I don't think that was necessarily clarified in the testimony. And I think if they're both based on their BAC, which I read, I think it's tough to make a case that whether or not one or the other was unconscious. Obviously, the man can't be unconscious. I get that part. It's pretty tough to I think it's very difficult to make any kind of decision, make any kind of informed call about the my point is, no matter the super fine grain, how do I put this? Regardless of how close, because what we're identifying here is that there's not a line, in cases like this, there's not a really clearly defined line between rape and not rape, right? So because of that, and because of how blurry that line is, and how it's blurred by things like alcohol, it is clear enough that the way that the media, and especially social media, and college students and feminists and all this stuff, the degree to which they called it very clearly a heinous case of sexual assault. But it seems like there's no way that you can actually be that definitive about it. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think the testimony, probably it was implied that she was unconscious, but it was supposed to be behind a dumpster, so I don't think that there's a ton of witnesses, probably a ton of witnesses who saw them leave. And I guess I'm trying to understand if he also has a BAC of like 0.2 or higher or something like that. At what point does he realize that she passed out, right? So the question is, if you have a consenting woman who's conscious, right? You're both shit-faced, but she's conscious. And then you engage in intercourse. Wait, hang on. I think this is perfect. Yes. You engage in intercourse. And yeah, that's right. He ran away. Yeah, that's true. I didn't really catch why. Maybe he just... My point is, it is not so clear-cut as raging people seem to make it. I don't understand how you could... Because you're essentially saying that the moment she passes out, it changes to rape, right? The woman declares no recollection of the entire thing. So, at the very least, if I was going back on college campus and I was actually gonna, go to fucking frat parties and try and hook up with the girls, I'd be super fucking careful. Like, insanely careful. I don't know, I watched a few videos on it, on both sides, and the way that it's portrayed on the feminist side is just way more unreasonable, because they're categorical about it. They're saying she could not consent, rape, right? Whereas any other reasonable person is not going to say he didn't do it, but they're going to say you have to prove it. And you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt. Not as it appears, and this is one comment that I had read maybe, not using a preponderance of evidence. You have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, because that's the legal system. That is our legal system, right? So given that the amount of alcohol that was consumed by the two of them, and just the culture of college campuses in general, it strikes me as a tragedy on multiple fronts, but you have to ask who paid the most. So, it's sketchy. And that's more, it's more of an ideological sniff test for me. If I'm just kind of on the outside of something, you can't know that much about the situation, and the prosecution is gonna, for fuck's sake, the prosecution recommended like 6 years for this guy, right? You have to be more reasonable than some of the suggestions that some people were making. And if you see an angry mob, which unfortunately feminism looks more and more like an angry mob all the fucking time. This is gonna be a boot. Son of a bitch. Then you know you have an issue on your hands, I think. You at least have not a clear-cut case. So it's kind of through that lens that I'm looking at some of these sexual assault allegations against some of the players, and they're very nondescript. They don't really describe the cases at all. So I'm trying to figure out, this ESPN piece was published with such just impeccable timing, and I'm just curious where the information was gleaned, what the intent was, and dude, come on. Am I gonna get fucked here? This is a small fish. Come on, boy. Come on. Please don't fuck me. Please don't fuck me. I think I'm fucked. Called the law into question. Said that you can't disagree with the legal system. What do you mean? I don't think I said I can't disagree with the legal system. I call it the way that I'm describing how the laws are essentially being applied and how guilt is being sought. That's kind of what I'm calling into question, but it's due to a larger cultural push, I think. Right, so yeah, so what I'm saying is that's actually crazy. Wait, penetration of an intoxicated person is a felony? So then do you understand what I'm saying then? Like, there's no way there's no way. That's insane. That's fucking insane. That's insane. But it's not just the laws themselves. I'm kind of also getting at it's the way the laws are being applied. What the fuck? 5, okay. It's very much the way the laws are being applied as well. Or just, like I said, how guilt is being sought. 7. So again, I'm not trying to ascribe nefarious motives to women or to this woman. I don't know the woman, but I can see even a fucking lawyer going to a girl and saying, "Hey, I'm really sorry that this guy raped you, but hey, here's my card." And she goes, "Wait, what? I got raped?" And she's like, "Oh, what?" And he's like, "I can make some fucking money with this." No, I don't think that I wasn't really making an argument per se, but describe me again what exactly I said that was conflictual, because first of all, I didn't know that was illegal. Because I don't think if that's illegal, then that's never even mentioned in any of these articles, that just penetrating an intoxicated person. But I was being pretty just generalist about what I was saying. No, you do have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So you know, sorry, what's wrong with that? I don't think I said you can't disagree with the legal system. I don't think. I mean, I'll look back at the VOD, but I don't think that's how I put it. I don't think I just said you can't disagree with the legal system. But that's not just like a law. That's like how the law is applied. Okay, well, that's a very interesting impression that you got. Certainly, if you think a certain law is unjust, you know, you want to. But you know, beyond a reasonable doubt is proven or innocent until proven guilty, and beyond a reasonable doubt are just kind of the lifeblood of the American legal system, or maybe you would say the Western legal system. Seven, that's really good. Well, see, and that's the problem, is that we're not dealing with reasonable people. So the way that the legal system works is that, well, this is what would a reasonable person, based on this evidence, believe the person guilty, right? Well, you know, how reasonable is our culture being about what constitutes guilt, right? People think perpetrates rape, and that's what's wrong with the idea of rape culture. That's what's fucking insane. It's a kangaroo court. Well, that's true too. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, I understand the way that juries are selected, but I also think that going forward, just, you know, this pours right out of feminist academic theory, right? This comes right out of should be grabbing the flower first. And I mean, academic feminism has been this insane for like a few decades now. It's just that it's only recently penetrated the culture itself, where alright, yeah, believe me, I'm not a big patriarchy guy. I'm going like full out super not feminist. Because social roles evolved out of biology and out of necessity to interact with our environment in an effective way. And it was just effective and natural for women to do certain, you know, essentially the feminist theory of gendered division of labor is obviously a physical fact or a physical reality and a historical reality because of biological fact. So, yeah, well, it's almost like a distortion of you almost like get people who use critical thinking to arrive at these decisions. It's almost like a hypercritical thinking where you just go, oh my god, well, you know, I know that they think that because so much is learned, everything has to be learned. And it's just like, okay, no, like, no, you know. If you don't think there's a very good reason that male animals are more aggressive than female animals, then you're fucking stupid. If you think there's not a good reason that female animals are more aggressive around their young, then you're fucking stupid. Yeah, but that's like literally the circumstances that pre-existed women's suffrage is like virtually before the Industrial Revolution. You know, we're talking about a time where you literally had to do extremely hard. I'm not saying that women shouldn't have had a more say in the society, but you know, that's literally we're past that now. It's not a, and that's the main issue with modern feminism is that's done. You know, that's been done for 100 years. We've had industrial machinery that a man or a woman could operate for 100 fucking years. Oh shit, I forgot. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. It's fine if people want equality for women, but they need to be very clear about what they mean equality. It gets very extreme when you read actual academic writings by oh, I'm dumb. The wrong day. Yeah, this is not. Yeah, this is wrong. How who are suspicious of the economy? What, black people? Yeah, believe me. Some things like that piss me off too. Yeah, I did something wrong here. I can do it today. It doesn't matter. I'm literally gonna skip all these splits. Yeah, it's fine to be suspicious of the Constitution, I guess, but unfortunately, and this is another thing that I've kind of moved towards in my older age. You have to live in the society that you're given, kind of, and this is a pretty goddamn good society. Of all historical societies, you don't want to live in this one? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's pretty damn alright. So, you know, I had to come to that conclusion too, because for fuck's sake, I read the fucking Unabomber Manifesto. And I actually didn't think it was that fucking crazy, because if you think about it through a certain lens, it's really not that crazy. But then you think, okay, well, you know, do I want to have forced air heating? Do I want to have central air? Whatever, you know, it's just, do I want to be able to do things like play a fucking video game that I wouldn't be able to do if I had to hunt for my own fucking food? Like, it's just the Unabomber Manifesto. Ted Kaczynski, I guess his name is, who in a period from the 70s to the 90s committed he was actually a former math prodigy and became a professor at the University of Michigan at age like 24 or some ridiculous age like that. He was a mathematics like genius, and he became he left his position suddenly in the 70s and then committed a mail bombing campaign from the late 70s to early 90s before he was caught in, he literally moved out into the wilderness, into a fucking, you know, cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere. Man, I'm getting fucked by these fish. Oh my fucking god. And so that's kind of the extreme, right? That's, you know, society is evil, it's toxic, technology is bad. It's basically his main thesis is that technology leads to loss of freedom and liberty, because you necessarily have to create more laws to be able to navigate a world with high technology, because technology obviously is going to lead to more, like we have, people always talk about we have semi-automatic fucking weapons now. They're not just fucking muskets. So because of that, we obviously have to have more stringent control over our guns. So okay, that leads to that leads to less liberty, right? And most people are openly say, especially liberals, openly say, well, fuck, the Second Amendment was written in the 1700s, blah blah blah. And that's a fine argument, but that underlies the point, the idea that technology leads to less freedom because it necessarily has to. And so that's kind of the Unabomber's main thesis. And it's not crazy. If you read it, it's not crazy. But you eventually have to make a decision. You have to say, all right, do I want to live in civilized society? If I want to live in civilized society and reap the benefits of that society, then I have to conduct myself in such a way that I can live with that. I can't just put all my failings or my life disappointments or my what else, what would I say, like my shortcomings on the society. I have to, as an individual. Why am I getting fucking boned by this? Why? I need 2 more, okay? Come on. Come on now, come on. Seriously. Unbelievable. That's like 4. That's literally like 4. So my point is, you can't just blame society for everything. And you can't blame the systemic oppression of society for everything. It's ridiculous. And one of the main problems is that a white male can't even utter that, because he can't, allegedly, based on the scholarship, can't understand the types of things that we're talking about, right? Well, we all are oppressed in some manner by our society, and we give up liberties because we live in a complex, civilized society. So, don't do this, man! Oh my god! There's so... So that's essentially what I'm getting at. And, like I said, obviously the laws are pretty good. All right, well, if you want to play Mr. Pedant, then you can, but that's really up to you. And I don't know why I should then be expected to accept the thesis that, because it betrays hey, what's up, Zach? It betrays a deeper understanding or belief about what, tell me this is, yeah, about what underlies all of human behavior, right? If you are of the view that you can blame your society for essentially everything, then you're like a hardcore you're a hardcore determinist as far as I'm concerned. Not only you're a social constructionist, hardcore, but you believe in some way, shape, or form that we live in a purely deterministic universe. I have no control over my thoughts and feelings or what I choose to do with this thing called life. And I am subject wholly to the mandates of my birth, my environment, and that's really up to you to believe that. That's the stance from which I was coming previously, to believe something like the Unabomber Manifesto, or to not just believe something like the Unabomber Manifesto. It's not a matter of believing in his tenets, because his tenets obviously make sense, but it's whether or not you choose for those types of tenets to dominate your life. That's okay. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't criticize the society. I'm saying that you can't blame society for all of your fucking problems. You have to strike some compromise between the ideal and the reality. I was like a hardcore idealist before. I wouldn't say that I was actually idealistic. Is that water? Yeah. I was, because I didn't believe things were idealistic, but I was an idealist in the sense that I believed, pretty much that we should strive for this ideal, but the ideal is not there, because whose ideal and who decides, right? Okay, don't. All right, most of the time I legitimately don't understand where you're coming from, and I think that you're like either actually stupid, or you just like you're like the worst devil's advocate I've ever met. You don't play a very good devil's advocate. Yeah, you can totally choose to die. Yes. In fact, I contemplated suicide for all the reasons I'm listing right now. I don't think that you're really that stupid. I just think that you're somehow taken in by mantras that don't have to be yours. Because that's what like all life is about. It's man versus society. This is pretty clear. You can't do just whatever you want. Not only because there are physical limitations on you, but because you're born the way that you are, and in the society that you live in, and there's no way for a human, unless you want to pull a Ted Kaczynski and move into the wilderness and become completely self-sufficient, but even then you think he didn't pay property taxes? There are just things, aspects of the society that you have to swallow because you can't change to your perfect ideal in any span of time, let alone your own lifetime. It's just not only infeasible, but oh fuck. Wait, I already did, yeah. Wait, no, I fucked up. Saturday. I'm starting to lose it. This is tough to keep track of. Did I, damn it. I'm losing track. Anyway, so I mean, it really should be patently obvious why you have to make compromise in your life. Whether it's just between you and individual people that you know, or whether but that's what we're talking about, though. You don't see. This is what I'm saying. I don't think that either you don't have the patience or you don't have the mentality to actually sort through this. These are very deeply philosophical questions. It's a combination of you versus society, you versus you, and you versus another individual. And you can think of them as the three archetypical conflicts in literature, right? They're okay, Zach. I'm kind of getting... No, I think that you ask questions not even knowing what kind of answer would satisfy the question. It's okay to ask rhetorical questions, but that's not really what you're asking most of the time. Because a rhetorical question is usually... it doesn't require an answer. That's what makes it rhetorical. But its lack of an obvious answer usually bears some fruit. It means something. Oh, wow, that's actually tough to answer. I wonder what that could mean. Your rhetorical questions are vacuous, totally vacuous. And I'm saying that super non-aggressive, super chill, whatever, vacuous. You don't have a thought behind your rhetorical question. It has to be pointing at something, and it's usually not. You know, and then you just kind of like flat out deny, or you kind of just give this response like, well, I don't think that life has to be like that. Okay, well, that's fine, I guess, but. No! What? Dude. Fuck yourself. Alright, well, rip chat. Sorry, hang on. You guys, my computer just fucking reset. Give me a goddamn break. Not my stream computer, my other one. Give me a fucking break, dude. Alright, well, I don't remember what his number was. That son of a... That is really fucking dumb. In the middle of a... What am I even walking outside for? What the? This makes me so fucking mad. Well, this run's dead, so... Fucking insane. I'm gonna do 2 more, and then it's gonna be 1, 2, 3. This should work out okay. What the fuck? What? You couldn't handle yourself? Good lord. Yeah, we're just gonna give you another one, and then that's gonna be it for Kurt. Okay, nice. Really cool. Yeah, I think this is a fucking dead run. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. my notes. Or my Excel file, at least, where I was keeping track of the affection. Fucking reset. Way to go. This is not. Yeah, this is wrong. Yep. Son of a... Give me a break. In theory, this should be possible. No, don't. Come on. Come on, please, do it. Come on. Yes. Okay, that was worth it. That was probably faster than all the recasts I was gonna have to do. This is really going to come down to if I actually gave them enough gifts, which I don't fucking know because my computer reset because it's a piece of trash. Apparently not even fit for notes. This is probably large. Please, 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 please. Five, come on, boy. But yeah, Gamero, I mean, if you wanna... This is medium, I fucked up. This might be large. No! No, that was large! No, 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 no! You... God! No other ending. I've gotten so used to this game, no other ending really pisses me off for the RNG. This ending is unfucking fathomable how it screws you. Absolutely no idea why. They all break. No idea. There's no, I'm doing the exact same thing every time. That's probably medium. For sure, we'll try it. It's medium. There's no way it's large. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep. Get screwed. Come on. Please. Please, I swear to God, I beg you. We had this. I had it. Oh. Goodbye, PB. Oh, that was large. I fucked up. Because it's impossible to see. in the dark. Impossible. There. Come on. Now just do me. Come on, we got this. I can still do this. Just losing time, but nope, it's over. See, there are just times where it does the little kick thing, and it doesn't matter. But then every other time, yeah, you better believe it's gonna fucking break off. Oh, fuck. This is so stupid. I'll bring up chat in a sec. Hang on. That's just so fucking dumb. Sorry, but that's... No, dude. Okay, got chat. Sorry. So much time lost. Are you kidding? Oh, no, wait. Yeah. I was gonna say that. Oh, wait. Literally, can't, It's Thursday. Okay, it's Thursday anyway. Okay, fine. Fine. Wait, what day is it? 10th? Okay, good. It's fine. Alright, anyway. I'm sorry for getting, like, frustrated, Camaro. I don't think that you, like, follow the rules of engagement in terms of, intellectual discussion. I don't... really understand what you think you're saying, but, you know, to say that you can't, like... What I mean is you just kind of, like... Someone could say something as simple as... I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually gonna give him this. What? So you can't give him another gift on that day? That's fucking stupid. We're just gonna have to hope, because otherwise we're screwed. Let me see if I can describe this. You're very arbitrary. It's like if somebody said sometimes it is literally as out in the open as, well, the sky is blue because, you know, we know that the air particles reflect. You said no. What's color? How could you even say that something's blue, really, when vision is so subjective? And you're like, okay, well, you understand that you have to start with certain postulates, right? Otherwise, we can't actually have a discussion. You know, it's like, we take these truths to be self-evident, point, line, and plain. You have to start from some basis, and you just always reject the basis when it's convenient for you, or when you're trying to play devil's advocate, which is why I don't think it's a true devil's advocate, because you're not really arguing a contrary position, you're just rejecting the premises out of hand because you want to, because it's fun, or something like that. It's silly. That's kind of what I'm saying. So they're not rules per se, it's just that you're not attending to reality in the same way. And that's fine if you want to question sort of underlying assumptions about reality, but that's different. You know, and even then you have to be really structured about what you're doing, or else you're not getting anywhere. yeah, this is the only run I got, Sam, and it was really good luck at first, and then I got completely screwed. But I can still PB. In fact, we can PB by like over a minute. Anyway, it's not, you know, it's not like a character attack I'm trying to make at you, Gamero, but it's really just like, you know, for somebody to say you have to make certain compromises in life. If you're going to live in a society, you'd think that, you know, talking to you, that they said something like, gravity's only a theory or something like that. Like, no, I'm just saying, like, it's obvious. If you live with other people, you just make compromises. You have to. That's really not what I think at all, but then you're honestly just whatever. But I guess yeah, it really doesn't matter to me now. I don't care. This is usually how it ends up though, so whatever. You know, for example, I'll put you on blast as hard as possible. If I'm going to live in a society, I have to grapple with the fact that I even have to live in a society where some societal decisions are influenced by people like you, who don't even have a fucking idea of who engage in evidently intelligent discussions the way you do. And that's scary to me, and I have to live in people who are even worse than that, like the people we were talking about earlier, insane feminists who think, you know, okay, any kind of unwanted gesture is sexual harassment, etc., etc. You know, you have to live in a world with people like that. And there's a degree to which you compromise, and then there's a degree to which you fight for what you think is rightly yours. And it's a back and forth. And that's more just negotiating with life. You have to negotiate in some sense, because why the fuck should you deserve such and such a thing, right? Or you're such and such a viewpoint or opinion, right? So that's I'm not trying to be too harsh, but I'm just saying, like, yeah. So watch this run die. It's probably gonna die because of bad fish luck. So this is hands down the worst 80% of this game. But we'll try and finish it. And it will be a PB, and it will be a really funny PB video too, but it was pretty clean up until my computer reset. And then I kind of just had to go blind. I knew roughly how close I was to... It's a good thing it happened when it did, otherwise I would have just had to reset. Excuse me, but... What time is it? 2 fucking 30. Yeah, I don't vote either, but that's not the idea. You still contribute to the social fabric, and that's especially what I was trying to get at earlier. Less about the law and more about how the social moment influences how law is applied, and that's how juries get tainted, right? You hear about that all the time. How it throws such and such jury out, especially in these high-profile cases or you know, murder cases, whatever, because they were tainted by the media reports or something like that, right? You know. Even if you have to do jury duty sometimes, that's you influencing. So we all have to live together. We all generate our social reality together. So it's kind of... But yeah, don't vote. Voting's dumb. Donald Trump's obviously the president. Oh, please don't. Literally nothing that you did everybody see that? Everybody saw that, right? I was holding left. Oh my god, I cannot see a thing. I was literally holding left. It's fucking insane. But yeah, sorry. You know, I always apologize after these long diatribes to everybody else in the stream. You know, sorry I had to listen to this. You know, I know I'm just playing a waifu game. This is my stream, so if you want to watch my stream, you know, you can just kind of deal with it. Whatever. Me and Gamera go back and forth like this all the time. We're still buddies. We always will be. You know, there are certain matters that I just think about, that we both think about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That we both just think about and think are worth discussing, even in the midst of Harvest Moon speedrunning. And yeah, so this is definitely this one sucks. I'm gonna. I'll grind this on Japanese, but this will be decently solid for now, I guess. Okay. But yeah, so let's think. I got pretty good luck to start. Didn't lose any corn, which I think you have to reset for. Because I plant corn late. Because I still don't know if it's best to do it that way. I mean, I routed this. You just need so many gifts. Luckily, you can give Kurt flowers, but you just need so many gifts, so it's not really as viable to sell berry berries or blueberries. Although I don't even get blueberries because they're all the way in the other by the lake. I only go to the lake a few times with this route now. Really glad I didn't get screwed on the fishing there. I also realized it's not even worth it to save because you'll get at least 2 chances anyway. And it's probably just as fast because you can do it on the 14th or the 15th, so as long as you do it on the 14th, if you fail, you can just run back to your house, sleep, and go back. And it's probably faster to do that than it is to reset anyway, plus the amount of time it takes to save. Because it's honestly, the way you have to go through the intro and the amount of time it takes to reboot, honestly, probably like, I think from what I timed, I think it's like 45 seconds to do a soft reset. I assume it's not a hard reset in terms of the way the console RNG works. Because I remember Lacklika saying something about hard resets and how, or I mean, the way that he kind of broke down the fishing of Harvest Moon 64. It sounds like the PS2 works the same way. in terms of how it stores RNG seeds between resets and hard resets. Thanks, Shark Tooth. I'm gonna keep streaming. I think I'm gonna get a little bit more tea, but then I think I'm gonna do a just because I started really late and I kind of feel like playing a little bit longer. I'll do a Endangered Weasel run. Got a decent number of viewers, and I think it'd be interesting to just try out. I refined the notes for that too, so I'll do that. And that one is just, that's literally no execution involved, no, I mean, besides just basic shit. I mean, a couple of the endings are so straightforward that the new information changed the strats like almost not at all. The only thing that's different now about Endangered Weasel that I found is if you talk, if you introduce without a gift, you know, I mean, Zek, you're familiar obviously with intro and a gift intro. You have to do a regular intro with at least 2 of the sprites, and then you will save 1 round of gifts. Because you would just barely, because the requirement for the Endangered Weasel is, for the first cutscene, is 80 affection combined with all the sprites. So add up all 3 sprites and it reaches 80, then that's the cutscene. But yeah, so we'll do that in a sec.